come through open periods of suppression of our language and our culture. Back in the 1980s, our culture was not something that everybody saw. You had to be Tlingit or Haida or Tsimshian to know about our ceremonial activities. I grew up in a time period where we would have our ceremonies and we would have to hide them, pretend we weren't doing that. So it was a real milestone in the 80s that we were able to bring our culture out into the open.
The Heritage Foundation is only about a year old.
And it was Judson Brown, who was the chair of Sealaska Heritage Foundation, that came up with the idea that we should have a celebration.
For the first time ever in our longhouse, we have the three nations under one roof. I believe this is one of the most historic occasions for our three designated tribes.
And then, of course, we've had David Katzik. He got celebration off on its feet, stabilizing and making sure that celebration got off to the right start.
It will send a message to our present generation of Tlingit, Haida, and Tsimshian people that we can preserve our culture, we can preserve our language. In preparing for Celebration 82, a traditional advisory council planned this event to have a spirit of unity in preserving our culture.
Our first celebration was celebrating that we had survived.
These 3 days, for those of us who are not elders, and for those of us who do not speak nor understand as fully as we might, our culture, our heritage, will likely be one of the 3 most significant days of our lives.
It was really exciting to see an open display. We're coming out in the public and bringing it out into the community. In 1982, we had our first celebration here in Juneau. The Board of Trustees said, this is our homeland and this is where we are going to celebrate our culture. And Juneau is the capital. It's the largest Tlingit community. It's the largest Native village in the Southeast.
The Mount St. Elias dancers are coming in this evening.
Hello, Juneau!
If you see any of the old videos or photographs, you'll see at that time they were primarily elders, and it was a much smaller group.
Well, here we are in Juneau. We're glad to be in Juneau.
That's the community center. That's where the gathering is.
We're going to be held.
Yeah, big brown building right here.
Oh.
At first, it was just a 3-day dance festival, a secular activity, not a sacred ceremony like our traditional clan-based ceremonies. We were doing this in a public event, so it was very new to us. And Clarence Jackson, Dr. Soboleff were the mainstays of celebration for decades. They provided that traditional leadership.
We're strengthening our culture. It's a shoring up time to not be doing anything just for show, but to show the young people this is the way it is.
Now I think it's more celebrating just the vibrancy of it, that it's something that continues in our everyday life.
We bring something powerful to Alaska's future. And we heard it this evening. We heard the drums, we heard the songs, we saw the beauty of the regalia. We'll see it more and more. We'll see our art, we'll see our food, we'll hear our language. And all I can say at this moment is I am so happy and I want to be part of this celebration. Gunakshish.
It's continued to grow. And so today we have anywhere from 45 to 50 dance groups, 2,000 dancers, and another 3,000 or more people who come in to visit.
What began happening with the rebirth of traditional music and dance is that people wanted to be more public in their celebration. Celebration is not attached to a ceremony, it's not attached to a village and or a clan. It really is a contemporary festival. Originally, traditional dance groups came, and then other people were like, I want to start my own dance group.
We decided to start adding other kind of cultural activities, and that's what we did. The celebration committee has already met. In the next year, they'll set the theme. Once you set the theme in place, we have got to start working on the logo. And if it's a particular theme, then we may have to address those specific components, trying to implement or showcase that theme.
Themes of celebration are always tailored to how we can be our best selves, the traditional values of the old people.
Here we are today, stronger than ever.
And this year, it's grown to even a bigger event because of a lot of the affiliated events. And that's something that began to happen a couple of celebrations ago, where different tribal groups began to hold activities as well. We see totem pole raising. We see canoe arrivals.
We're at Juneau celebration, here to meet the canoes, and there's several canoes from different various communities. People here are going to be meeting them with the elders and welcoming on this land. But we're just here to celebrate that and to be able to share in the culture.
I actually just got off the canoe from Sitka. We paddled from Sitka to Juneau over the last 8 days. And so I gotta tell you, I'm still rocking a little bit from being on the canoe.
We came down with our canoe from the Taku River the other day. It was a great, great journey.
My father, Kaskanaat, he was our skipper this year. There were a lot of us that paddled on our way down, and it's a long journey. We paddled here from Hoona. It was pretty amazing. So we're going to use this song right now to honor all of those people that paddled with us as well. There were canoes from Cake, Angoon, Ketchikan, Sitka, as well as a veterans canoe. It was an amazing experience to be able to paddle with all those people. And there was a women's canoe. To honor all of our beautiful, strong, Native women from the Northwest Coast and from all over the world. If there is anybody in this room that was a part of this journey to celebration, I'd ask that you please stand with us as we sing this song.
We're dancing on native land. Gunachish Akwan and Takuquan for allowing us to dance on your land. It makes our ancestors smile.
At first, I just was excited about the dancing. Excited to see it because I grew up in a time when there wasn't really a lot of dancing. But now you see all these groups coming in, I think 48 this year, 2,800 dancers. And all of the people, you're looking at 5,000 people. It's just exciting to see all of that.
Celebration is really all the different groups coming together, sharing the same stage, honoring the songs that they've inherited, and bringing life to them again, because songs are dormant really until they're sung again.
The way that we're doing this is basically in the way in which our people did it. It wasn't just the chilkat blankets that shined. It was our women, our children, and those who had gone before us.
It starts at the community level, the clan level, the dance group level, people coming together, all the people practicing their songs. In those practices, we're telling our children about what gave rise to the song, the stories behind the songs.
Our next number will be from someone we all knew. He taught us this song before he left us. His Tlingit name was Gastin. He also had another name, Clarence Jackson. The words go, we will go towards the wisdom of our ancestors. The mountains will sing with us. Our glad songs and our happy hearts will echo through the hills. We will walk together with happiness.
One thing we have to tell everybody, songs are owned by clans. Songs are property. They're real property, and you have to respect that ownership. But we're also reminding them, you have to tell everybody this is a Thunderbird song. You could sing the song, but you have to acknowledge that it's owned by us.
The song we entered in on the Gunana song is a Shungu Katie song, and David Katzik gave us permission to use that song, Gunash Cheese.
We inherited the songs from my grandparents' generation. Some of the meanings of the songs that survived, I couldn't identify with. That made me think that each succeeding generation, the challenge and responsibility is to give those old songs meaning for us today.
We're very conscious that these songs are old. We dance our ancestors' songs. We reflect a lot on the land and the stories in our performances, and so if we don't represent well here, we're not reflecting very well on who brought us here. We love coming to Juneau. We love coming to Celebration.
It's always been very moving to me when, for example, a group, I'll mention Angun, they brought out their hats, their clan hats, which are very valuable at Tu'u. And each of those hats has their own song and their own dance. It's amazing to see that because, again, those songs are really ancient songs, and these are really part of traditional ceremonial practice. And whenever I see that happen at Celebration, I'm just so moved because this really is the root of our identity and the root of our cultures. Then you have the other end of the spectrum of the social songs, new songs that are being composed. Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
My people lost almost everything because of our missionary. When we started our singing, dancing again, we had to start over. We had to write all new songs. While we would love it if we had this old bank of old songs to use, it's also allowed us to really own all these songs. That really, we know where they come from, we know the composers.
Allison Marks wrote this next song and gave it to us. We're going to be using it proudly.
They're from us today. Presenting your history and songs to people is a serious, serious thing.
We're wearing the amhalite, the headdress that represents the 4 clans of our people.
In spite of those situations that could tear your heart out, we're still singing and dancing. And there's nothing more powerful than that. We're singing and dancing.
For a while, that's all that mattered to me, was the dancing. Then there became later on in life a more philosophical, deeper meaning to it for me in terms of trying to get the younger children involved. I watch the dance groups and see how many of them bring children and how many of them don't. And more, they're bringing their children with them. When we first had celebration, it would just be the adult dance groups. Now we have children's dance groups that are dancing all by themselves. For instance, the Angoon group that has just children in it, and the Children of All Nations from Juneau, they have dance groups that have adult leadership, but the dancers dance by themselves. So I've seen a change from almost all adults to maybe 50% now in almost every dance group that has children in it.
Let me introduce James Jack III. He danced before he could walk. If you think that our culture is dying, remember this moment. It isn't.
I'm a part of TCLL, that's the Tlingit Culture, Language, and Literacy Program. You'll see me there with the kids, helping lead and direct and guide. It's great exposure to programs that are available. For example, our TCLL program, I think they see us dancing, but they also hear our children speaking.
Seiji Yuchat Duisop, Chak Nachatsati, Kagwan Tan Kukitan, Sheet Kakwan, Gate Ka Kasus Khanyadi, Shaya Awadaneki, Anyat Kusani.
They learn a sense of identity, a sense of self. And as they get older, they learn a little bit more of the histories behind our culture and the songs that they're singing, the dancing, and just take pride in not only themselves, but their family and where they come from. Knowing who you are is important, but also knowing who the others around you are as well, and how you connect and how you belong. Because really, when it gets back to it, it's about, do I belong in this space, and how do I belong? We're celebrating our cultures. It wasn't something that was as highly celebrated before its first initial celebration happened. So going back to that place where we can celebrate who we are, where we come from, and who we come from, I think that's huge, and it's important for our kids to see as well. The other group, we really wanted a group where we focused on the language. We wanted our children more at the forefront. And so this is our second celebration together as a group.
We really want to keep our language alive. We learned the histories of the songs, and we learned Tlingit language along as well. So all our children are up here in front.
Let's save our way of being Tlingit. And this right here is how we're going to do it. They're our future.
We're very grateful that there's even this opportunity for our youth to get together. One of the biggest pieces for us bringing all of our youth is that they watch other dance groups. Because Yakutat is so remote, our kids don't really see other groups dance ever till they come here, and it gives them some insight into the uniqueness of each community and the beauty of each community. To me, it is a celebration of ourselves. Celebration is understanding our full identity and our connections to each other.
I watch so many of our Native youth not identifying with being Native. I wish I could just take them all aside and say, this belongs to you. This isn't some foreign dance you're doing. This is your dance. This language is your language.
Suhede shugak dutan, ya guskeraki, haji kana haskaudaki.
This was robbed from us, and your great-grandparents were actually beaten and shamed. But I really want our people to be proud. I want our children to be proud. I want them to have a reason to be proud. It's what we're doing now and what we're trying to keep alive that I'm hoping will be the legacy that I and others leave. In 100 years, they'll be singing and dancing, and our language will still be in the air.
Tlingit and Haida and Tsimshian are known for their oratory.
Yewe uhan tu nukha iyatakolkeni de kachuhan to sikhan hajitiyate. When we look upon your faces, it's like the sun shining on us and has given us warmth and strength in our spirit.
We hadn't realized that that was one part of our culture that was escaping, and that has to do with the language. How do we bring those oratorial skills back?
At celebration, we hear all three languages: Tlingit, Hadkil, Samalgiach. And it's very inspirational to hear that people can speak our languages and that our children can hear it. The Haida group did language through the whole presentation. And so just to hear that the languages are coming out more and being used more.
Yakjanasti Guaikangai U Ijang gets Han Dast Eighth U Ijang.
The will of the Achtim, Mealgadam, das noon. Up local Ajik Sigoru.
Language is who we are, what really sets us apart. The three main tribes that attend celebration, Tlingit, Haida, and Tsimshian people, our languages are threatened. Haida and Tsimshian language is really in danger. Of the three, the Tlingit language is in the best shape, but it's really threatened still.
The early photos, you can see pretty much almost every elder there was fluent in Tlingit from birth. And now I think we're getting down to around 110, 120 people left who could say that they're fluent from birth.
There's a huge revitalization with indigenous languages, and of course Alaska Native languages, all of them are endangered. And so I think part of music and dance touches upon language, it touches upon regalia, the arts, the history of the different clans. So I think when music and dance goes through this stage where it's really growing and people are really wanting to learn more about it, then they have to study language, they have to study the arts.
You can't get up at celebration and get up to the microphone and sing songs in English. It wouldn't have the same effect. So all of the people you watch, they get up there and they may not be speakers at all, but they've learned the songs in the language. At least that way, our language is in the air.
I look at celebration as celebrating our dances and our language and who we are. We have a Shamalgik language group here in Juneau, and we've only got like 6 fluent speakers on the Alaska side here. So to me, it's really important that we're singing our songs in Tlingit, Haida, Tsimshian, Alutiiq.
During the 1800s, the Russians treated the Aleuts very poorly, and it almost resulted in the extinction of their culture and their population. The Russians brought the Aleut hunters down here to Southeast Alaska to hunt sea otters. And it was during this period that the Tlingit people learned Aleut songs. When the Aleuts began their cultural revitalization, they came to the celebration in the 1980s, and the Tlingit people returned their songs to the Aleuts. And today, those Aleuts sing those songs in our celebration.
The thing that celebration points out is that the future of our peoples depend on all of us. Yeah, the elders have the knowledge. But the next generation won't speak the language if they don't get involved and do the work to learn from the elders. Whether it's a 3-year-old or an 80-year-old, you need both.
She's trying to say Gunachish on Yatku. Thank you very much, Faith.
Right now, there's nothing more important for any of our peoples than language revitalization. Things like Celebration or Sealaska Heritage Institute have helped with that.
Sealaska Heritage Institute, they partnered with the Hike Foundation in Metlakatla to help do a Master Apprentice Language program for us. And we've been at it for over a year. I'm able now to sing in Somali and understand it the way I would if I was singing in English. And it's terribly exciting.
And it's only by the hard work of people who are really, really trying to become fluent that we're going to be able to save them.
Celebration to ya has to in kautu wudnik helti hayuk atangi just guk kana ak.
Saving our languages is literally saving our identity as Tlingit, Haida, and Tsimshian people.
You see what has flourished over a period of time, and we're continuing the culture. Thank you. Gunuchish.
To see that the living, breathing languages and cultures of Southeast Alaska are gaining strength is tremendous. Ya Tlingit ka hatkil ka smalgich ya hatu yek aya takata yuk atangi tua ahi.
A lot of this has just come from the community. It's come from the dance groups, come from the artists, come from the knowledgeable elders, it's come from the language speakers. They're the ones that have guided celebration, and one of the reasons why it's so amazing.
Celebration is not just a 3 or 5 day event. It begins months, in advance of celebration, where people are talking about, oh, I need to do this regalia. People coming together, preparing their regalia or their new regalia or, for their grandsons. It's all of that.
push to make new regalia and things like that so that we're as decked out as we can be when it's time to come and be proud.
Certainly there's different styles of regalia now. I mean, there's some new fabric out there. It used to be that the favorite color was black and red. Everybody had black and red blankets, everybody. Now you see changes in the colors. The tunics from Yakutat, for instance, are different color tunics now. Blankets have different color hues to them. They're light purple now, or a yellow or orange. And mostly still predominantly red and black, but there's a change in it. And then people are learning form line better, and the designs on the back of the blanket or tunic all have a better form line. And so people are learning that too, that you can't just do a design on the back of your tunic or your blanket and not follow the form line patterns that are required by the artistic part of our life.
It's been really exciting to see people look and learn from elders about the protocols for traditional regalia, especially if it's for a traditional dance, and then who could wear it if you're a raven or an eagle, the crest that you have the permission to wear.
The robes, the tunics, aprons, leggings all show the crests of the person wearing them. Tsimshian have 4 clans: Lachski, the Eagle Clan, Clan Haida, the Raven Clan, Lachgibu, the Wolf Clan, and Gispudwada, the Killer Whale Clan. The regalia we wear is both traditional and contemporary at the same time. It's based on traditional regalia, but modern materials and fabrics are used. Some of what Githoan uses is quite colorful. And it's just like using a chainsaw and a totem pole. If the old people had access to all those things, they would have used it. Button blankets are an example of that we didn't have wool blankets and buttons prior to contact, but as soon as we got them in trade, we incorporated them into our culture. We used the buttons as decorations because they reflected the firelight and they looked beautiful being danced. And now button robes are as traditional as can be, but they're only a few hundred years old as far as the history of our people.
Tlingit, Haida, and Tsimshian people. We all wear the same kind of regalia. To a visitor, it all looks the same. It's really not, but a lot of ceremonies are similar.
We have a special guest to introduce. This is 11-year-old Leah Nelson from Wisconsin. Leah, can you come? Haku. This year, she began making a button blanket with her grandmother and aunts for Celebration 2018. Leah wanted to dance her blanket in memory of her late grandfather, Charles Nelson, who was Haida Eagle Killer Whale. Unfortunately, Leah's grandmother passed away just as the blanket was completed. It has 558 buttons, each one sewn with love. The Shungu Katie invited her to join them this year. We're honored to have Leah and her very special blanket with us tonight.
We decided we should have a fashion show.
This cape is part of the Chilkat Elements collection. It has traveled to New York, Paris, and Italy.
Last celebration was our first fashion show, and our tickets sold out in the first hour. And we had it downstairs in our clan house.
The new eagle dress, modeled by Brittany Reed, represents the eagle, who flies closest to the creator.
This year, we decided that we were going to expand it into Centennial Hall so that everybody could see it. Plus, it's shown on TV statewide.
You are going to be seeing new and innovative fashion by 12 designers. Janice Jackson, Shadutla, Lily Hope, Maria Williams, Libby Wannabe, Crystal Whirl, DeConti and Brown, Reg Davison and Wendy Van Riesen, Violet Dawn, Megan O'Brien, and Dorothy Grant.
My name is Dorothy Grant. I'm from the Haida Nation, designing for 30 years. I'm really happy to be here at Celebration because this fashion show is really about showing pride of who we are, where we come from, in a real contemporary way that hasn't been showcased before at celebrations. Well, it was the last celebration, but in a smaller venue. So this is large, a lot of models, and for me, it's about education, about the art, about the culture, about our sense of self and pride, about futurism, about going forward and being viable in whatever occupation we're in. For me, it's fashion, but when you put young people on the stage like that, it gives them that sense of confidence that they have never done this before, but when they get off stage, there's an exhilaration, a feeling like they want to do it again. It's really pride-invoking, which is a good thing.
We found out that our girls needed to learn more about designing and about modeling. So we're having 2 additional workshops this year on fashion, designing fashion wear, and also modeling.
My name is Alyssa London. My Tlingit name is Yakirieri, which means precious child. The designer was inspired by a shooting star. When I go on stage, I'm going to be making hand motions that are very gracious and welcoming to the crowd, because that is also ways that our people dance throughout celebration. We do hand movements of welcoming and bringing everyone together, and so it's an embodiment of a star, but it's also a way of saying hello and welcome to everybody. Celebration!
We decided that this is something that we wanted to bring into the contemporary period and share it among ourselves, but also share it with the public. And that is part of our mission, is to promote cross-cultural understanding and to support cultural diversity. And that's why we're so happy when other people come to a celebration to witness all of our culture.
I'm really excited for how much Native fashion has kind of hit the ground running, and that there are people of all cultures that are excited to wear Northwest Coast art, whether that's woven hemlines or cuffs or necklaces with the little weavings or iPhone bags. So I feel like the fashion world and the Northwest Coast art is happily meeting. I've got 4 pieces in the show. 3 of the pieces in the fashion show are octopus bag dresses. There's a yellow one, a blue one, and a red one. So I've taken the look of an octopus bag and made them into dresses, so they have 4 legs in the front and 4 legs in the back. They are adorned in abalone buttons and mother-of-pearl buttons. Last year I wore a nice shiny cocktail dress that I had upcycled into Northwest Coast fashion with mother-of-pearl buttons adorning the hemline and also flanking the shoulders. And then I put this large 8-inch wide cedar bark belt that went around the entire thing with these pops of cedar shredded out the back, inspired by the Japanese obis.
Celebration is having its 2nd fashion show. The first year I did participate with 2 looks.
She and her brother Rico Tlanot World co-founded Trickster Company, where her artwork is sold.
This year, I will be featuring 10 looks that I've been working on the past couple of years. The highlighted selection that we're showing at Celebration will be the women's athletic wear. So we have new leggings that I designed specifically for Celebration. It's a killer whale design in 2 different colors.
I think the fun thing about contemporary Native fashion design is that you see elements of the origins. Clearly we're seeing things that are outside of what would be traditional regalia or traditional clothing because new materials are made. But then you see the inspiration of that, the springboard of the designs. There's a different aesthetic. The idea of applique or use of abalone buttons, or there was a beautiful gown that was actually woven like a basket. So basket weaving is very important. And of course the use of the different clan crests is always very much an identifier of a moiety or a clan. And sometimes you're seeing those now morphing into more of a creative, expressive element and a little bit of glamour.
Still live a culture, traditions we hold
yet we still sing our songs for these thousands of years.
And artwork has always moved forward in new and creative ways. It's never been static. And so we're just witness to seeing that happen, before our very eyes. Especially if you look at the different video recordings of the different celebrations, you can see different colors, brighter colors, face painting coming back. Because historically, Tlingit and Haida people pretty much every day painted their face. And then that changed with, again, this long period of time of colonial oppression. And then, of course, now with the dancing, it's come back.
Art is pretty integral to the culture, so it's integral to the way that we represent ourselves, both in a very literal sense, from just showing off our crests on our regalia to everyday things we carry that represent who we are. Because representing who we are and our lineage is so important for us, I think art in regalia and fashion has always been a very strong component. Not just the idea of cultural survival, but a continuation of that lineage of art. Celebration is a perfect place to be able to see that. It's a modern way that we're able to come together and represent who we are today.
The drums are really important. I feel that they're part of the heartbeat of our tribes. Something that was taken away from us for a long time. I'm really glad that I've had some good teachers with learning how to make drums and how to do form line design. I enjoy doing all the different designs like the raven.
Northwest Coast art is an ancient art. It goes back 4,000 years. In the world of art, it is so unique and so distinctive.
On the tail, smaller ovoid. Celebration has aided in the reclamation of a standard. Form line design is red and black. There's these two sides and they have to be in balance. Not only are the colors in balance, the weight of the lines have to be in balance, and the balance between the positive and negative space have to be in balance. And that art is indicative of our culture. If you learn about the art, you'll see, oh, that's how these people saw the world, that there has to be this balance.
As an artist, we need to know these stories, we need to know the histories, and we need to know certain design elements that go into each specific clan and each specific house. And so having this exposure allows me to progress and learn more of our own histories. The copper inlays are without glue. Those were set inside, and that's how we used to do it.
One exciting part about Celebration is that artists from all over the region get to come together, whether we're participating in the Joint Art Show,
The best of the weaving division overall goes to Ursula Hudson for Inside Out.
Celebration has always been a great opportunity for us to really be able to exchange ideas, get excited about each other's projects, and I think it has created a network of support for artists in the different ways that we create.
Our art is not just art. What is more significant to our people are the social, the cultural, and the spiritual dimensions. There may have been some event in the clan's history, and they record that event through art. And then when we bring it out into the ceremony, it's transformed into at'ul. It means that it is owned by the clan. It has spiritual and cultural significance. It identifies who we are.
Arat'u, tunics, blankets, these things have come home. They did not come home to sit in museums. They did not come home to stay in Wrangell. They came home because they wanted to see their relatives.
You cannot sell at'u or the specific clan crests. Our people, we have a crest that shows we're from the house lord from the sun. That is a clan crest. That cannot be sold on the commercial market. But generic objects and now abstract Northwest Coast design, that's now on the market.
All up and down the coast, we all come from a masked society.
Masks are kind of an important thing because they're an ancient way to assist in this telling of our stories, whether it be songs or oral tradition. Especially with the Tsimshian people, we have a style of masks called naknoch, which means spirit guardian. No other tribe has those. Not all masks are naknoch. A lot of masks are crest masks or props to help the story move along.
The two popular groups are David Boxley and Robert Davidson. David Boxley, Tsimshian, Robert Davidson, Haida. Those two have brought in great masks into dance.
People anticipate the Tsimshian dancing. I think that we add some spirit and excitement that people like. 60 or 70% of our dances are with masks. We tell our stories with masks and try to make it fun and energetic. Out of the 46 groups that are here, there's only one other dance group that is similar in terms of use of masks, and that's the Rainbow Creek dance group, the Haidas. Robert and Reggie are very innovative, the way they create masks.
The majority of the masks that we use are from my brother, Rich Davidson, myself, and now my son, Ben Davidson.
I've been the primary mask carver in my dance group for many years, but my son David and I, now we work together, and he's a fabulous artist.
They're very popular, not only with our people, but other people who come and like to see all of our artwork. And I think they even have a little competition going on between the two of them.
Gidhon likes to playfully compete with Rainbow Creek, Robert Davidson's dance group. They come out with something new, so we're like, oh, what are we going to do to? And I think that healthy friendship and competition continually helps raise the bar.
Their dancing is almost theatrical, where ours is not quite as theatrical as theirs.
Just like our ancestors were, when you tell stories, the stories are acted out in these very theatrical performances with masks representing different characters from the stories or supernatural beings.
This song is about our struggle and the return and what we have today. Hi, hi, hey, hi, 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 hey, hey.
Well, I use a lot of masks that either are just really simple face masks, or they open to reveal another mask, or the mouths clack. We have a shaman and land otter dance. It's an articulated mask, part of it moves. We have another one, basically the ancestor of mosquitoes. Mouse woman tries to give good advice to these fishermen and warriors and berry pickers to watch out for this monster. Probably the biggest mask used here, it's a big salmon. There are 6 dancers, one wearing the head, 4 paddlers, the body of the salmon, and then another man in the back holding the tail. So all together, they're one big salmon. Gidhon, people are the same.
The Haida word for mask is ni jungu, and that means to imitate. The echo masks are new this year. It was actually my daughter who came up with the idea with the whistles. The whistles are used in connecting with the supernatural realm. And same with the oyster catchers. It sounds like a whistle, their sounds. The whistle is kind of like a universal language. It has a more haunting, more suspenseful sound than if we use a voice.
One of the first things that we added was our baby regalia review. We had changed our whole thrust in terms of wanting to restore our cultures, bring it out into the open, and I said, what better way than to feature our little ones?
Next up is Trent Elton. Trent is 2 years old from Juneau. His Tlingit name is Udakan. He is Tlingit, Blackfeet, and Crow Indian. He is of the Kagwantan clan. His mother, Juanita James Elton, is also Kagwantan, and his father, Derek Elton, is Norwegian, Scottish, Blackfeet, and Crow Indian.
Trent is wearing a blanket with a wolf design. His apron is made of sealskin made by his mom, Juanita. The paddle Trent is holding has a wolf design. Trent's silver bracelet has an eagle design that was gifted to him by his mom. He is also wearing a cedar hat made by his aunt, Marla Hughes.
Next up, we have Hyla Xochitl Ramirez. Hyla is 3 years old from Juneau. She is Mexican and Tlingit.
Hyla is wearing a tunic made by her mom, Jocelyn Ramirez, with Grandpa Jimmy Mark's killer whale design. Her cedar hat was made by Judy Helgeson. Her paddle is a yellow cedar eagle paddle made by her grandpa Jimmy Marks. Her killer whale Supergirl cape was made by her mom.
Next up, we have Kaya Stepetin. Kaya is 2 years old from Juneau. She is Tlingit, Aleut, and Japanese.
Kaya is wearing a blanket with an eagle design. Her blanket was made by her mother, Ann Stepetin. Her button dress was made by Grandma Betty Ann Samato. Her booties were made by adopted Aunt Renee Mokoyuk, Siberian Yupik style. Thank you so much to all the parents and all of the kids and all of you who came out to watch today. Wasn't this so fun?
So if we could have all our participants come back up.
So we did that, and it was just wonderful because it was showcasing our children, but also showing people that our culture wasn't going to die. And that was what really celebration was all about. That first celebration was celebrating our survival. In these later years, it's really developed into demonstrating the vitality of our cultures.
Chilkat weaving is the fiber that holds our culture together. It's so much a part of who we are as a people.
This robe we have as a deed to Sakai Point, so it's part of our clan at Uwu.
I'm a Nahin weaver. I'm a Haida weaver of the Nahin technique.
When I did my first Chilkat robe back at the end of the 90s.
2016, my mother put together the Weavers presentations and hosted a Weavers gathering in partnership with SHI.
I'll just call up a bunch of weavers and ask them to come together. Let's see her blue robe.
She facilitated all of it and asked me to be one of the presenters, etc. This year, I'm hosting the Weavers Gathering that is happening upstairs on the 3rd floor at Walter Soboleff Building. We are gathering any weaver, Chilkat, Raven's Tail, Spruce Root, Cedar Bark, that wants to come and join us and weave together, share techniques, the bonding that happens over weaving and like the excitability of like, you do that too? Oh, what about this? Do you do this too? Oh, I do that too. And I'm also facilitating and emceeing and gathering the weavers for the weavers presentation.
1, 2, 3.
Chilkat weaving is the fiber that holds our culture together. I mean, we say that language does, and it does. And connections that we make in Chilkat weaving and the way that we can support our culture through our weavings, it's vitally important. It's so much a part of who we are as a people.
A couple of years later, we decided, well, let's have some of our native food contests.
I'm going to ask the nutritionist to come up and give us some information on the nutrition of our good natural foods.
Just talking about the foods that our judges are going to be reviewing today are seaweeds. Reduce the fat levels in your bloodstream. They also have extremely high levels of iron. If you have access to our berries, that's what a lot of our elders take instead of a multivitamin.
I usually do this for a dessert for at home. It's high in vitamin C.
Seal oil is an amazing resource of omega-3 fatty acids, omega-6s.
And so I think the seaweed was our first contest.
First place of the Black Seaweed Contest, Don Bolton, Metlakatla.
And then we added a soapberry contest, primarily women from the interior, because we have a lot of Tlingits who live in the interior or in Canada.
My name is Doris McLean from Whitehorse, Yukon. I dump the whole jar in this bowl and then mix it up with a little bit of water and added sugar to it.
So you put a couple of teaspoons in there, and I'm going to let you taste it after. You stir it at low speed first, and then you speed it up as you go along.
You'd whip it up into this big bowl of, it looks like soap.
It's pretty fluffy, and I'm going to add a bit of sugar, 1 teaspoon at a time, and it's going to turn just like really, really light pink when it has enough sugar. It's really important that we continue with our traditional ways of living, and being close to the land gives us power. And picking them berries gives us power, and it brings the community together at harvest time.
Really good.
And that's what this is all about. It's more than just whipping up a batch of soap berries.
I grew up with this in Angoon, you know.
This year, we added seal and seal fat.
In first place for the seal oil contest was Racine Fredrickson of Angoon.
First place for the seal oil with crackling goes to Donald Bolton from Metlakatla.
On the first table is a demonstration of the foods that I have put up. Smoked gumboots, coho salmon, sockeye salmon, sockeye strips, canned halibut, soap berries, apple butter, wild strawberry jam, high bush cranberry jelly, nagoonberry jelly, seaweed, and I have tea. There it is.
When we're out hunting and gathering and harvesting, we're combing the hair of our Mother Earth. We're in touch with place. And when we're in touch with place, that's when we come to know who we are. And when we know who we are, we live out of that core of responsibility of our identity.
If people really are interested in the history of celebration, is to start looking at some of the older recordings. And then you get a sense of the growth, you get a sense of the depth, you get a sense of how things are just so dynamic right now. And anytime things are dynamic, that's very, very positive.
When we first started broadcasting, it was so popular. People were phoning and our lines went down. So after that, we were compelled to have that statewide broadcast. Then 360 North, then picking it up and then showing it throughout the year. And we would hear from people in the villages, sorry I couldn't make it, but watching on TV. And we're getting these messages from all over. When you hear that on TV, you see the little kids, they'll run up and they'll start dancing in front of that TV. So it even lives on through the TV where our children are dancing, parents, grandparents, happy to see us all together again, reliving those wonderful moments.
The panoramic photos of this year's celebration is already available just across the lobby. They really did a good job on this so quickly.
2010 on, I've been the official staff photographer for Sealaska Heritage to take photographs of celebration. I shoot the panoramic photo. Usually within an hour, 30 minutes after I take it, I'll have a print ready to take down to Centennial Hall, where celebration happens, on sale for the public. The first person to do the panoramic photo was Ron Klein, who's like the guru of the panoramic photo, not just in Juneau, but in the United States. And looking at his old photos, it's also kind of heartbreaking because they see so many people out there who are no longer with us, all the elders that helped preserve the culture during the last century, how oppressive it was. You know, the photos and celebration to me mean that it shows that the cultures have an incredibly rich past. It's an incredibly vibrant culture that's alive, and the dancers are leading us towards the future, to the beat of the drummers. To me, that's what the images I take and what celebration means to me. I hope celebration goes on for the next 500, 600, 700 years. Hopefully, some historian 200 years from now will look back and see these images and says, look, these are the people who set the stage, got everything in motion, and preserved our heritage.
Celebration is a shining example of what was and is and could be for our people.
Just to feel the power that you experience when you walk into a celebration, and to really experience the culture in all its beautiful various forms that you're going to see. I think it's an amazing event.
Celebration is such a huge event for our people. During celebration, I'm celebrating survivance. The idea that not only have we as a people and a culture survived, but we're an active one. We're a rich and living culture.
I'm very sentimental about this celebration. Sea dancers, some of my favorite singers.
I've watched it evolve for the last 30 years. And every celebration I say, this is the best celebration ever. I said that in 2016. Now I'm saying this one is the best.
A celebration, I feel, is a genius of an idea. I wish for a long life for celebration. Watching the audience, it's feeding a lot of people's souls. Every celebration I go home with new inspiration.
Then you spend the week here with all of the rest of the Native people, and you spend it dancing and singing, and you just renew your spirit. And to me, that's important, that every 2 years I get to come back here, see my friends, hear the songs, watch the dances, and when I leave on Sunday and Monday, boy, energetic again. It just renews you.